Welcome to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, a podcast for Danville, Kentucky and beyond. Conversations with friends, and you get to listen. Brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. 80% Danville-centric, 20% eccentric.
Good morning, Danville, Kentucky. You're listening to the leading podcast, the most influential podcast, the fastest growing podcast for Danville Boyle County and the surrounding Central Kentucky region. Thank you very much for joining us. Whether you are listening here in Danville, Perryville, Junction City, down on the Fork, over in Harrodsburg, Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis, Portland, Oregon, Atlanta, Denver, Nashville, Chattanooga, Memphis, Little Rock, or like Chuck in Vietnam, I consider it a real honor and privilege that you choose to spend part of your day with me. I sincerely appreciate it. Today, I have another roundtable discussion, this time from the Danville Boyle County Airport, where I am privileged to be joined by board members Patty Powell and the chairman of the airport board, Rob Cowell. I also have with me Christian and Nick Barker, who manage the airport on a day-to-day basis. Big things are happening out here at the airport. Like the Cincinnati airport that's not in Cincinnati, but it's in Covington, the Danville Boyle County Airport is in fact in Junction City. And not only is it the Boyle County Airport, but it stretches into Lincoln County. Anyway, here we are. First and foremost is Patty Powell. Patty, thank you for being with me today.
You're welcome.
Patty, the field obviously is named after your father. How was your father involved in aviation in this airport?
How long is this podcast?
It's long. I can go as long as you want. There's no charge to go long.
Dad was, as a child, involved with this airport. He pumped gas at age 14, and it was just a strip. Later, he actually joined. They had the cadet program, and he became a cadet, and that was 40. Now you're asking me dates I didn't know I'd be talking about.
There'll be no fact check.
Okay, good. No fact check. But anyway, he was in the cadet program for probably 2 years, and I don't have the exact dates, and I'm sorry I don't have those available with me today. But he soloed at 16 here at the airfield in a J3 Cub, and probably flew a little illegally in between that, but we won't talk about that. But always had a passion for aviation. We moved to Danville in 67, and he became an air board member in 1968. And let's see, Joe Clark was actually chairman of the board then. Joe went on in his political career and I think had to resign from the board and got Dad to agree to serve as chairman. And that began a length.
Decades.
Yeah. So that's a history.
I knew your dad. I was in the Rotary Club with him for several years, and he was just always the consummate gentleman. He was just a fixture around town, and I know the airport was such a passion of his. I know flying was such a passion of his. If someone hasn't been out to this airport, it's staggering how nice it is, and it's staggering that we have a facility of this caliber in our little community. So and he saw it as a real link and a lifeline to bigger communities and a pipeline for business into our community.
Absolutely. It was truly just a little airstrip. And the old administration building, which is still here, it's actually now where the cadet program has their meetings, and it kind of got renovated a little bit. And then we had the second administration building that's over here where Nate Hammond and kind of that was the other administration building. And then we had the third administration building that was over where AirEvac is now. And then finally, what was it, Rob? 2010, I believe, is when this current administration building was built. And so over the years, this airport has certainly blossomed. And when we got the first vice presidential debate, which was, dates, I'm sorry, 2001? That sounds right, 2001. We didn't even have PAPI lights at that time. We're just now getting new PAPI lights during this construction we're doing right now. So, and we came down to the wire and getting those, because that's what helps a lot of these, especially larger aircraft, land. It's a guidance system. And Dad was sweating bullets. But anyway, I think they got turned on a day or two right before that debate, and had his fingers crossed that would work. So it did.
And during those two presidential debates, they had jets parked everywhere.
Everywhere, yes.
They were wingtip to wingtip.
They were.
And they were here for 24 hours and then off again to where the next location
That's right. Joe Biden was here for that first one, as a matter of fact.
What is your position on the board now?
I am a member of the airport.
Merely a member of the airport
I am a
board.
member of the airport board, and we have different working groups. I'm on the marketing team and sit in on a couple of other things, but they asked me to join, and I felt like it was an honor.
Do you fly too?
I don't. Not yet. I did actually. I don't presently. When I was a kid, I flew with Dad back then, and I guess they still do this. We haven't had one here in a long time, but they'd have fly-in breakfast, and I would fly with Dad. It was always on Sunday mornings, and we'd ditch out of church. Don't tell Mom, but she was an organist, but we'd miss church and go to a fly-in breakfast somewhere. And so that, I learned flying truly by instruments because I couldn't see above the top of the dash on the plane, so I had to follow the wings on the aeronautical instrument panel there to make sure I was flying straight, and Dad would have me do some slow turns and different things. So I sort of started flying a little bit as a child, and then I actually, later in life, I was living in Texas and took my written test, but I let it expire before I took my actual flying time, so I need to rethink about doing
As soon as your calendar clears, I guess you'll get back.
I'm waiting for the calendar to clear. That's a good response, yes.
Okay. Today, we're also, in addition to Patty, we're also joined by Rob Cowell, who's the chairman of the airport board, and Christian Barker, the manager, and his brother Nick Barker, who's the assistant manager. What services you provide and what services this airport provides to the community?
My name is Christian Barker, and I'm the airport manager. Okay. Well, we're a regional class airport based here in Danville, and we have 2 runways that each have their own 2 ends, and so 4 in total if you want to get real specific on it. But we just provide general services for people who might fly in and out for any reason they might have. One of our big things that we're seeing here in Danville is the industry. We have a lot of jet traffic and people coming in and out to visit their companies that they own or that they work for or affiliated with in one way or another. And
you have a lot of prospects for businesses come through too that way.
We do, yes. That brings we're the kind of the door to the city for a lot of these people. They'll fly in from wherever they might be, and this is where they come into. It's a lot more convenient and easy for them if they have their own private aircraft or means of traveling that way to come into here versus Lexington because of driving distance once they're here. We're a full service FBO and facility, and so we can provide fuel to them. We can help arrange transportation, hotels for them if needed, catering services. Our job is really just to meet their every need, whatever they might have going on or might want.
All right, Nick, you're the assistant manager here. How many local airplanes, prop airplanes, and jets do we have here at the airport?
So that number fluctuates from time to time, and presently we have a couple that have sold their aircraft and some that are coming in, but roughly 60 on field.
And what is going on over there with the helicopters?
So that is it's a regional maintenance hub, but they also have a life flight base there, 56. And so they do medical flights in and out of here. They have one helicopter here based here for that. And then they also do various maintenance on surrounding helicopters.
So at all times, there's a pilot and like an EMT stationed here at the airport to man that rescue helicopter. Is that right?
Correct. There's a pilot, a paramedic, and a nurse for each aircraft.
All right. 24 hours a day.
Yes, sir.
And then there are services like that dotted throughout the state, but all those other helicopters come in here to have their service work done.
That's correct.
And you can fuel them up, and you guys provide jet fuel to the jets and regular fuel to the prop airplanes. Rob, you gave me a brief walking tour of the airport the other day. You were kind enough to provide that to me and my kids. And now my son wants a Beechcraft for Christmas. So thanks. I appreciate that. Rob, could you give me a brief history of the airport and how it came into existence?
You want me to go all the way back?
All the way back but not too far back.
Well, then I have to go all the way back.
All the way back. All the way back is probably more exciting than what happened in the 70s.
Yes. 1928, Guy Jones. It was a grass strip on the east side of Danville that was the original Danville Airport. And the reason we need to go all the way back is because that grass strip was utilized for airplanes coming and going during the day, and also during Prohibition, airplanes coming and going at night. Among those, one of those was Guy Jones.
Was he working for the feds or working against the feds?
He wasn't working against the feds, but most of his activities were to avoid the feds.
I got it.
And so in 1934, they moved the airfield from east of Danville out on Lancaster Road to its current location. And it was the original north-south runway that is our short runway we have now. However, it was only half that length. But I would like to note an important stop that was made that year was Eleanor Roosevelt flew in a tri-motor Ford and met her husband, who had arrived on via train, to dedicate a monument to the westward expansion of the United States that is currently at Fort Herod State Park. So if you were to go to Fort Herod State Park and make it past the big Osage orange tree,
I know the exact tree,
which stops most everyone in their tracks, up on the left you'll see a memorial to the westward expansion in the United States, and Eleanor flew in for that and landed it on our airfield. After that, the lead up to World War II presented the need for more pilots, and Centre College became involved in the Civil Air Corps' effort to train pilots. And they had Piper aircraft similar to the one Stuart took his license in at this airfield, and students would take their ground instruction at Centre College and then come out here and take their flying lessons.
So you could go straight into the Naval or the Army Air Corps or the Naval Air Service from Centre College.
From here, and unfortunately for some of them, you would be in the theater several months after that and learn the rest or else. And so, but at any rate, this was one of the airports utilized for that effort. After that, one of our notable users of the airfield was Elizabeth Taylor while they were filming Raintree County. She was, between filming sessions, she was flying back and forth to California from Cincinnati on a flight, but she utilized a local Bonanza aircraft to fly from Danville to Cincinnati to hop on a plane to travel cross country, and would fly in and out of this airfield. Really, the next big event was the original debate.
Okay.
And
that really spurred some innovation and expansion here at the airport.
It was great because it really put us on the radar in the state of Kentucky and with the FAA that this airport was a much needed facility and that improvements needed to be made, and convince them that we needed more facilities. And Stuart was able to parlay that into several expansion projects. And then we held a second debate 8 years later, which is still benefiting us because of the commitment of the FAA and the state of Kentucky to help us continue improving.
And the airport demonstrated that it could handle the additional traffic that was given to it on those particular days.
Yes, and that would lead me to the operation of the facility. Traditionally, small general aviation airports have a private entity that tries to survive and provide services on the airfield. Stuart saw that it was extremely difficult for them to remain financially viable and also provide the service that we really need, continue growing this airfield. And with that, with the airport board and with Stuart's effort, took over the management of the fixed base operation, which is the daily activities and the general maintenance of the airfield. And with that, we have found that each year we have expanded services and increased revenue. We live and die by hangar rent and fuel sales. And the current team that we have is doing a great job of selling fuel and keeping the hangars full.
Excellent. You've got equipment running around all over the place. What is going on here at the airfield?
Well, we're fortunate enough to have been awarded a $3 million, solely funded by the state of Kentucky, grant to resurface both runways, or four, as Christian pointed out, if you consider both of the compass headings. And in addition to that, the taxiways and ramps are being paved. And in that process, we are, because of all that corporate aircraft traffic that you and Christian were talking about, as the jets are parked out on the ramp, they've gotten so large that they sink into the asphalt while they're here conducting business. And so the state saw that we had a need, and we are converting about half of our ramp to concrete so that it can hold up the existing traffic and future traffic.
You're doing quite the excavation project out there. How deep are you digging?
Well, some areas we're going down 5 feet. We're airfields in general typically are in a flat area around a community, and with that generally comes poor drainage. And in this area where the airfield has been constructed, we have shale about 10 feet down in most areas, and find that that traps the moisture. So in order to build a ramp to hold up this jet traffic, we've been required to dig down and backfill with shot rock and
is that coming from our good
stone.
friends at Coel Stone?
It is all coming from our good friends at Coel Stone. So the actual products are, our first layer, we're using channel lining, or riprap they call it. The second layer is number 2 stone, which is about fist size, and then they're capping that off with dense graded aggregate, which is designed to seal off the area prior to placing the concrete. And in addition to that, they're installing subsurface drainage in the whole area so that any moisture that gets under this concrete will drain out and won't cause problems over the years. So we're real excited to have a first-class project taking place out here.
So that'll help the airport better accommodate jet aircraft that are coming in more and more frequently.
Yes, and in the past, as in with the debates, we've had the ramp completely full, and it's been difficult parking the aircraft so that one aircraft could get out while the others are sitting. And so the state recognized this also, and are in the process of constructing a second taxiway to connect us with the runways so that we've got better ingress and egress. And that should increase safety and provide more utility for the existing square footage.
Who owns the airport? Is it owned by the city or the county, or?
Well, if you ask the FAA, they'll clearly tell you they own this airport.
Okay.
And the reason they say that is because in order to receive FAA funds, which we do and have over the years, we have agreed to, each time they write us a check, we have to agree to 39 grant assurances. And those assurances basically make this airport theirs for at least 20 years each time we sign a document. And those are multiple times a year, so you can see that it is their airport. However, the sponsors of the airport and the deeds for the airport are listed in Danville and Boyle County, the county of Boyle and the city of Danville. That qualifies the city of Danville and Boyle County as the actual sponsors for the airport.
But it's got its own independent board that oversees management and the day-to-day operation.
It does. It does have an independent board. We communicate very closely with the city. Our current mayor and judge have been extremely involved in the activities that are going on at the airfield. I'm happy to say that we're getting an unequaled level of support for this airport this time, and we're extremely appreciative of the city and county's effort. And part of that effort was their recognition, and they agreed to allow us to expand the board from 6 to 10 members. In Kentucky, the Kentucky Revised Statute requires that airport boards be either 6 or 10 members. And when Stuart Powell passed away, after a short period, I was asked to be chairman. And the first thing that I determined was that it was going to take a lot more than one person to be chairman of this board. And all of the other board members pitched in, but it didn't take us long to figure out that not only was it going to take the entire board, but it was going to take more people. So we've expanded to 10. We still haven't filled his shoes, but we're working at it.
Well, it'd be hard to match his level of passion and enthusiasm, no matter, I know you're an enthusiastic aviator, but his enthusiasm and passion and drive would be hard to match in just about anybody. What kind of economic impact does the airport have on the local economy?
Well, we like to say, not all would agree with us, but that we have the most important mile of asphalt in the area. And it's amazing how much commerce is conducted via this airport. As Nick and Christian explained to you, we have lots of corporate and private aircraft that come in, jets and turbine and piston powered airplanes, not only to look and buy property in the area, but with the businesses, each of the industry that are here, industry that are considering relocating in this area, want to be able to fly in and conduct business and fly out in the same day. And because of that, it's hard to quantify it, except that I believe that progress would be considerably slower without this airfield. And not only this airfield, but if you look around the state at most of the general aviation airports, we see that this airport, through Stuart Powell's efforts, has 2 runways, not just one. And what that does is allows us to conduct more aircraft activities on windy days. It makes us a better fit for flight schools when people are learning how to fly, because if there's a bad crosswind and a student's unable to fly in that crosswind, we have an additional runway for that purpose. And we've also used that second runway in one of the debates. We shut that second runway down to give us additional parking for the jets. And so it's an extremely important asset. But what Stuart has done over the years, in addition to building those 2 runways, was accumulate enough T-hangars to house those aircraft that you and Nick were talking about earlier, and also put up corporate hangars so that we could locate jets on the airfield, and which we're currently housing jets for 2 entities, and which are flying in and out of this airfield almost daily.
Let me ask Nick a question. Nick, let's say I wanted to get lessons to fly an aircraft. Could I do that here?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. There's a flight school here, Wings Flight Training. It's a great school. It's expanding daily. They presently have 9 aircraft. They're based out of here is their main base, and then Lexington and Bardstown now as well. But they take people all the way from nothing to your private license, and then all your licenses after that, including instrument, commercial, CFI.
So if there's somebody in Danville, the surrounding area, that has an interest in flying, they can come out and investigate taking the written course and getting their flight training hours in here.
Absolutely, yeah. They can take you from not necessarily knowing what a wing on an aircraft is to being able to instruct other pilots.
Okay, awesome. It's my understanding you guys now have a pilot examiner out here?
Yes, sir, we do. So J.W. Lynn with Lynn Aviation, he is a DPE, a designated pilot examiner. And so what's great about having him at this facility as well is not only if you go through Adrian Reynolds School, Wings Flight Training, once you have all of your qualifications, you can just go to the next office over to J.W. Lynn's, and he can give you your oral and practical test to give you your license. So
you can get the education and then take the test right here at the same facility.
That's correct. It's a one-stop shop.
Christian, let's say, and this is a real hypothetical, don't tell my wife that I mentioned this, but what if my family of 4 wanted to charter a flight from here, either to go on vacation, or for me, I'm in real estate. I occasionally need to go look at a piece of real estate that's out of state. Can I charter a flight from here?
Absolutely. We can do that as well. And actually, a couple of the jets that we have based here are set up on a charter certificate, so they can take you from here to California or wherever else you might want to go. And if it's not a jet, then there's companies that have worked with us before that bring in a piston-powered aircraft or something to meet your needs based on how far and how much you're willing to spend. They can come in here and pick you up and walk in one door, walk out the other door, and you're on your way. That's the best part about our facility. There's no baggage checks, checkpoints that you have to go through. It's a quick, easy transition.
It's very smooth and easy. And boy, it's so convenient that it's right here, just 5 minutes from downtown Danville, and you're at this really lovely facility. Can the general public come out and just get a tour of the facility?
Oh, absolutely. We're always happy. We do that actually quite often. We'll have people coming out with kids or families that just want to see an airplane or, see what's going on around. And we're happy if we're free, have a moment, we'll take them for a quick tour. We can go over to Air Evac. They're always happy to share a little bit. Just walk around, show them what's going on. Or if it's a hot day and they don't want to be outside, we've got a room upstairs here, a great observation room with some chairs and windows. You can watch over the entire facility from right inside the comfort AC of this building.
So if someone wants to investigate lessons, book a charter flight, or just come out and see what's going on, what's your phone number, contact information, and your website, email addresses?
The phone number is 859-854-5994.
Say it one more time.
That is 859-854-5994. And my email is christian@danvilleairport.com. I'm always happy to converse either one of those ways. You can get a little more information about us from our website, which is danvilleairport.com. And our Facebook page is probably the best way to keep up to date with us on what's going on, what we have going on. Try to post pictures up there quite often, especially if all this projects that we have going on currently. Give everybody a little update on what we're doing. And so the Facebook page, and you can just find us there at Danville Boyle County Airport. Then we're located at 420 Airport Road in Danville, Kentucky. And so anyone's always welcome just to stop in and say hi.
You can follow the signs. You're easy to find right
That's
here.
right.
It's a big flat place outside of Junction City. All right. I want to thank Patty Powell, Rob Coel, Christian, and Nick Barker. I want to thank everybody for being with me today. I appreciate your time and your information.
Thank you very much for having us. It was a pleasure.
Thank
Sir,
you.
Thank you.
What's up, Danville? Welcome to What's Up, Danville, the news you can use for our community, city, county, and the surrounding region. By the way, this podcast is underwritten by my real estate brokerage, the Logan Company, but I have consulted with my management team and the production staff, and they feel that we have room for 2 sponsors on each episode. An episode sponsor and a sponsor for the What's Up, Danville segment. If you or someone you know would like the opportunity to sponsor the most influential and fastest growing podcast in the region, hit me up at ManAboutDanville@gmail.com. Completely serious here. If you would like to sponsor an episode or a series of episodes, let me know how to talk to you about it. Sports, no one knows what's going on. It's Friday. The Kentucky High School Sports Athletic Association and the Kentucky Department of Education may be making changes today. I don't know what's going to happen with local sports. With regard to the arts in the area, August through October, the On Plein Air exhibit featuring all new artwork by the Plein Air Artists of Central Kentucky is going on at the Art Center. If you would like the opportunity to see art produced by local artists or have the opportunity to purchase art produced by local artists in our community, check them out. Also, of course, coming up is the Run for the Arts, one of the longest running 5Ks in our area. It's being done as a virtual race event this year. Check out more information at artcenterky.org for more information there or the chance to buy a t-shirt. The Great American Brass Band still needs your email address. Check them out, gabbf.org. Their database got wiped, so swing by, give them your email address. Also, don't forget the Investment in Youth livestock auction is happening on Tuesday, September 8th. That's the Tuesday after Labor Day, I think. Starts at 6 p.m. at the Stockyard in Stanford. If you need more information on that one, check out last week's episode. That's episode 20. Check it out. All the information is there. I talk with some of the kids that are going to be participating in the livestock auction. Joining me this week on What's Up, Danville is a longtime friend of the show, Ben Garant. Ben, what's going on?
Well, thanks for having me on, Logan. The reason I'm on the show today is to ask the very responsive and loving Danville community for a little bit of help. A good friend of ours and a son of Danville experienced a pretty bad accident last week. Dave Huckleberry is his name. If you don't know Dave, you may know his parents, Tom and Rosemary. But Dave was riding his bicycle home from work last Monday and had a terrible accident, which threw him over the handlebars, breaking his nose and giving him several lacerations in his face that required 15 stitches. But the worst part was that he sustained a pretty severe spinal cord injury. So that meant that he had to go to the University of Kentucky ER, where they admitted him into the ICU for observation, and the following day did some spinal surgery to repair and or replace some of the damaged vertebrae and try to fuse the one above and below to the artificial when they had to insert in order to reduce the swelling. So at this point, he has minimal feeling in his legs from the waist down, and he has been discharged to Cardinal Hill for a long rehabilitation process. It remains to be seen again whether or not he'll make a full recovery. We're all hopeful that he will, but we don't know for sure. He'll be there for an unknown amount of time, but he's also going to have some pretty significant expenses as part of that. He's in the restaurant industry. He's a manager at Sutton's Restaurant in Lexington, and he'll be unable to work for quite a while. And he obviously is going to have some other expenses in addition to the obligations that he already has. To that end, we have kind of rallied the troops around Dave, and we've circled the wagons. And I've spoken with some folks that have known him from the Danville community, and also some fraternity brothers of ours from Transylvania University. And we've set up a GoFundMe account in order to help him with those expenses. Logan, we've set the goal at $25,000, which is lofty, but I think with the way the Danville community and the way the transy community and all the folks that know and love Dave from the restaurant industry are going to respond to it, we're very hopeful that we'll exceed that goal. If you would care to donate, we would love to have you participate. There's a link on GoFundMe. It's simply called the Huck Fund because everybody calls Dave Huckleberry Huck, because why would, right? So you can find that on GoFundMe. You can find that on my Facebook page. And I'm guessing that you can probably find that on a whole lot of other folks' Facebook pages that are part of the Danville and or transy community. And we wanted to reach out to you, Logan, with some of the contacts that you have, being the preeminent podcast in the Danville Boyle County area. We know that your listeners will respond and help us do the right thing to help Dave out in the long run.
Ben, not only is this the fastest growing, most influential global podcast for the Danville and the surrounding area, I've got the best listening audience in probably the state, if not the Southeast. So
clearly,
you have sent me a link to this GoFundMe directly. I'll put that in the show notes. I appreciate you letting us know what's going on. And if folks are interested, they can go to the show notes on this episode and get a direct link where they can help him out.
Thanks, Logan, for having us on. And if, like I said, if you are able to donate, that's very much appreciated. If not, some prayers for Dave and his family and his caregivers are also as much appreciated.
Very good, Ben. Thanks for letting us know about it, and you be well.
Okay. Thank you, Logan.
All right. The guys in the booth are letting me know that that's all the time we have for this week. As always, I'd like to thank my guests, Rob Cowell, Patty Powell, Nick Barker, Christian Barker, on behalf of the Danville Boyle County Airport for joining me. Do you want to get in touch with me and talk about the show or real estate? Let me know at ManAboutDanville@gmail.com. If you've got an idea for the show, a guest for the show, or item for What's Up Danville with regard to sports in our community, the arts in our community, or not-for-profit organizations that are sponsoring an event, let me know. People have been asking, and yes, the Man About Danville can MC your birthday parties, rehearsal dinners. I can be your in-ring announcer for boxing or mixed martial arts. Just get in touch. We'll work something out. Find everything out at ManAboutDanville.com. Follow me on Instagram, ManAboutDanville. The Twitter handle is ManDanville. Facebook page, Man About Danville. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and just about anywhere else you access your high-quality podcast. You can even use your Amazon Echo device to listen. Just say, hey, Alexa, play the Man About Danville podcast. Also, I've got a YouTube channel now, so if you'd like to see my face while you listen to me, you can do that. If you have a moment, hit the subscribe button wherever you listen. I also sincerely appreciate those of you who have taken the time to give me a rating or write a review. Those are always welcome. Be well, have a good weekend, and thanks for listening.
That's it. We're out. Thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Subscribe to Man About Danville wherever you access your favorite podcasts, and be sure to tell your friends about us. You've been listening to Man About Danville with Logan H. Gurman, brought to you by the Logan Company, a commercial and residential real estate brokerage for Danville and Central Kentucky. Know someone who would be a good guest? Want to be a guest yourself? Have an idea for the show? Get in touch with us. Find all our contact information on the web at ManAboutDanville.com. Thanks for joining us.